welcome. Larissa here. Now, for those of you that I have not met, I'm Larissa. I'm the founder of Salon Owners Collective. Now, I was a salon owner. 20 years I had my salon where I was a multi-million-dollar salon owner. I had a team of 30, amazing woman. It's not without its challenges, I can tell you that, but I overcame where I came from being overworked, overwhelmed, and at times earning less than the team members that I employed. And my story is that I really moved into the space, which I now call freedom and profit. I was working 15 hours a week in and on the business, and the business was making a multi-six-figure profit. And now I want to help salon owners do the same. Today, I want to talk about how to increase sales. Sales go up by actually working less, because I notice most people are overworking and they're underpaid like I was. And the solution might not necessarily be what you think. So, shall we dive in and talk about it? I know, because I was in your shoes too, there's never enough time to work on the big things, the big needle moving things, the things that move the needle in your business. The list is always bigger than the time that you have available. Now, I call these the big rocks. Let's talk about big rocks. Well, often you've got a list a mile long, and everyone is demanding time from you. You're fully booked, often running a full column back to back with clients, and ever hopeful that maybe a client will cancel, so you can do those urgent things that you really don't normally have time for, like put an ad up for a new team member, call back the accountant or the bank, negotiate your lease, put stuff on social media, but your client turns up late and it's kind of a head wreck, right? We're back and we're forth, and as a result, your time is full, your brain is full, and there's no time for the things that really are going to move your business forward. If you're booked 5 months in advance, this is a challenge. This is a problem. This is a roadblock in your business. And if only your team were as busy. And if you're constantly in a state of rushing and you never quite get to the big important things that you knew that if only you had time, that if you only had time to do those things, you would smash your business growth and smash your business goals. So it feels like we're always waiting, right? And there's never enough time, and the time never comes. So instead, we have to realize that enough time actually never arrives. You have to create it, force it to happen in your life and make it happen. And I call this CEO time. It's the time that drives your business forward, when you stop doing the busy work and start working in and on your business. Let's talk about shiny objects, because I think this is one of the biggest roadblocks in growth for a business. And rather than less things, let's go deep into shiny objects. So I see you, creative entrepreneur. Yes, you, because I'm one too. You say yes to all of the things that they're either super exciting, or you have this huge light bulb moment, like this will be the thing that will take away all of the pain, or will change everything in my business. This is the $1 million idea. If only I would do this, everything will be okay. And it may well be, of course. They're really just what I call shiny objects, and they actually take you away from those fundamental things that you're going to get growth and change from in your business. And as a result, time is full, your brain is full, and there's no time for things that really move your business forward. And you're always waiting until there's enough time, right? And it's shiny objects and looking over our shoulder at what everybody else is doing that actually distracts us from doing the key core things in the business that we should be doing for the right stage and phase of our business. It distracts us, and it has us throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping something sticks. So we need to realize that we're in a business journey. What stage or phase of business that we're in, we need to pay attention to that. How long have you been in business? How many do you have in your team? What is the income level of your business right now? What's your role inside of the business? Are you still in the early stage of business, or are you more established? What systems and processes do you have bedded down? And what are you yet to nail? I see the other roadblock as interruptions and fires. And as a CEO or as a business owner, we're at the top of the food chain. And it's natural that everybody wants our attention. Putting out fires, we're asking permission, and we're making decisions left, right, and center. And they're just checking, your team's just checking in with you to make sure that they're getting things right, that they're doing the right things, and they're asking you questions you don't necessarily know the answer to. And you start to suffer what I call decision fatigue. We're people pleasers, right? Most of us, and we want to help the people inside of our business. So I remember a time when I realized I loved the attention and the importance of being needed all of the time. But it's this constant hat switching that simply is a head wreck, and it leaves us reeling, head spinning, and actually leaves us on the mouse wheel, busy, but not on the right things. It's a busy being busy, and busy being busy for other people's agendas, especially if you're a people pleaser. And what's coming at you can be a little bit random and in no particular order. And the problems that I throw at us, they're in no particular order or for the right stage or phase of business, and it creates chaos. So instead, we need to create some focused time to focus on the things that we need to get done, not just any stuff, the right things at the right time of business for the right stage and phase of business. Otherwise, it leaves us in the weeds, and it leaves us in a dark hole wondering if we're any good at running a business. And I say a dark hole because you can't see in the dark. And when you're in the weeds, we have zero visibility over our business, where we're going in what direction. It stops us from making the right decisions. So we just grab the next possible decision that's next to us, but it doesn't mean it's the right decision. And it leaves us in this kind of 2 steps forward and 2 steps back situation, not really changing anything. And sometimes it's a 2-year cycle of forward and then back, and then forward and then back. And we're desperate for forward momentum. It's a sign of progression. It keeps us as a creative entrepreneur moving forward. When we're in momentum, this is what makes us feel alive. Life is exciting. Business is exciting when we're in momentum, because it becomes a self-perpetuating formula. Momentum drives momentum. And if we don't, it's completely and totally overwhelming. So I remember a time when I felt really trapped inside of my business, totally overwhelming, booked back to back for months in advance. I was the busiest person inside of the business, booked in advance, totally overwhelming. And it felt like I never made the right move because I didn't have the time and the space to consider the long-term effect of any decision that I made, or to keep my eye on the direction and where I was going. I hoped and dreamed, but I really didn't have a plan. Like I never made the right moves, which meant that I didn't trust myself that I could. So if you're anything like me, all we want actually is a little bit of freedom and a little bit of profit. A little bit more freedom to move, to do the things, to make them happen, to have a life outside of the slog, right? Do you remember that back in those days? To spend time with our loved ones, to breathe, to have some downtime, to sit still just for a moment. And of course, profit. Now, profit isn't a bad thing. This is exciting. This gives us choice to live a better life, choice to help others to do the same. After all, this is what we came here for. Am I right? I want to talk you through the 4 things that smart CEOs do so they can drive sales up and actually work less. I want to make sure that you have the resource today for the 4 things that are going to help you step into becoming a smart Salon CEO and catapult forward growth. So I want to make sure that you have that you grab that, and I'm going to put the link in the show notes of this episode so you can grab it. Come along the journey with me. Let's do it together, step by step. All right, let's dive in. Let's chat about the 4 CEO steps that you need to know so you can increase sales and work less. So there are 4. We're going to talk about the big rocks. We're going to talk about stages and phases of business. We're going to talk about working on your business versus in your business, and we're going to talk about CEO time. This is what will give you the freedom and profit that you crave for smart salon CEOs. So let's start with a story. There was a professor once at a famous university who did an experiment with his team, and he set the task for his students, and he gave them a bit of a project. He gave them 1 jar, a tray of sand, some pebbles, and a bunch of rocks, and a beaker of water. And he said, there's a prize for the person who can get the most of these things or get all of these things into this 1 jar. But of course, no one could fit in all the items. And so what are these items? Before we tell you the moral of the story, what do these items represent? Well, the sand, in a business sense, represents employee time, the daily activity operational. They're sand, they're small, daily operational things that just happen, whether you like it or not. Nap bites, checklists, other people's demands, appointments on the phone, confirmation calls, social media, laundry, helping the junior, all of the stuff that actually, if you really think about it, other people can do. Nap bites. What do the pebbles represent? Well, the pebbles represent management time, the things that happen weekly or monthly on rotation. They're big, important things that need to happen so the business continue to operate. Stock ordering, daily promotions, shifts on reception, managing holiday requests, team meetings and huddles, all of those operational things that happen on the regular, on repeat on a weekly or monthly basis. So sand are daily operational things, pebbles are weekly and monthly operational things. And then we have the big rocks. Now the big rocks are the big things, sometimes and often and should be the new things that drive business forward, the new initiatives, the things that really move the needle. So what are the things that move the needle? Well, employing new income generating team members, designing your website and traffic and marketing campaigns to bring new clients into the business, new programs, culture programs for your team to develop their business skills, updating and setting this is how we do it here systems, sales workshops for your teams, and coming to coaching calls and learning new strategies, going on workshops and intensives and learning new things, tweaking old ones, doing CEO dash and strategically reading what the numbers tell you what to do. There's a way to get all of the things in the jar, the big rocks, the pebbles, and the sand, and the water, right? So the trick actually is to put the big rocks in the jar first. They're big, they're going to take up the most space. Put the big rocks in the jar first, and then you can fit the pebbles, the smaller rocks, in and around the gaps that the big rocks leave. Finally, the sand, and then the water flows in all the gaps in between. This is a strategic plan to manage all of the pieces of your business. And so business is the same. When we get trapped, stuck managing the fast flowing water and all of the sand, and then we struggle to get the pebbles done, and then there's never room to fit in all the big rocks. So we need to learn how to work on the right things at the right time and fit in all of the things in our business. We have to make time for the big rocks first, right? Otherwise, there will never be time for the important things that move and change today, change the situation that you're in today and make a better day for tomorrow. So we have to prioritize how we manage our time, our strategies as the business owner, the big things that will move the needle in our business. So then, how we spend our time then directly impacts the results and our income and our quality of life. Am I right? So I want to ask you now, what's landing for you? What has this triggered in your mind? How are you managing your time, the sand and the pebbles and the rocks in your life? So there is never enough time to work on the big things. The list is always bigger than the time you have available. And if you say yes to all of the things there and you become a people pleaser and say yes to all of the requests of other people's agendas, And as a result, your time's full, your brain is full, and there's no time for the things that are really going to move the business forward. You're always waiting until there's enough time. So we have to create it. We have to force it to make it happen in the business. Create space for the big things that move the needle in the business. All right, we've talked about the big rocks and prioritizing the big strategies. Let's talk about stages and phases of business. The right phase of business for the right stage and phase of business for the right strategy at the right time. Does that make sense? So if we know we have to prioritize the big needle moving things in our business, then we also have to make sure that we're working on the right big things, not just any old big things, right? So stages and phases, I want to introduce you to this concept. And on the way to growing to $1 million business, this is what we need to consider. The problem is that we often get distracted or we get confused by what we should be working on. Often it's not a lack of ideas. It's an overwhelming flow of ideas. If you're anything like me, it's an overwhelming flow of ideas that actually causes us strife. We watch others over our shoulder and we see what they're doing and the things that they are doing, and we think we need to be doing those too. We get excited and distracted by the really cool ideas. I call this shiny object syndrome, and it causes more overwhelm and non-action than any other business progression stopper, I believe. I've been working with salon owners, hundreds of salon owners over the last 6 years, and this is one of the biggest progress stopper that I have seen. So we have to pay attention to what stage of business that we're in to assess what strategies we should be doing now and which ones can wait till a little bit later. Often we're in strife because we've done the wrong things in the wrong order, not because the strategy was the wrong strategy. We just didn't have the foundations in place. Once we know what the phases of business that we're in, then we can step forward and do the right things at the right stage. Focus on the right things at the right time. So we need to know what phase we're in, of course, and what phase you're in right now, and identify where the gaps are. Sometimes it gives us permission to change, sometimes it gives us permission to charge forward and really put pedal to the metal with confidence. Sometimes we need to stop and backfill some of the strategies that we've missed kind of underneath at the foundational stage. It's super powerful to know what stage and phase that you're in and what you should be doing. Give yourself permission, what you can give yourself permission to leave till later. So I want to run you through the stages and phases. And don't worry about the money being different. When I talk that through, just think about that from your local state point of view. Focus on the team and the stage. All right, let's talk through this. The first stage is the operator stage. And in the operator stage, you probably have got anywhere between 2, or maybe it's just you, but 2, maybe up to 4 team members in the operator phase. You'll know you're in the operator phase because you're one of the primary income generating people. You're on the floor fully, you're serving clients, and probably you're doing the most money and the most clients, while your team are kind of lurking around, hanging out the back, and it's a little bit frustrating. Now, in the operator phase, often a roadblock or a frustration is that our client numbers are low. We've had some growth. You were fully booked as a stylist or a therapist, and you've had some growth. You've now employed some team, but you don't have the volume of client flow to fill up your team. You're still the one that's fully booked for the longest and the busiest and making the most. Client spend is low. You know your team aren't doing what you know that you could do with a client. Non-returning clients becomes a problem. Your team don't have the retention like you thought that they should, could, or would. And the lack of clients and the retention of clients is actually the roadblock to growth. So in the operator phase, we really need to work on brand visibility, attracting new clients to your team, not to you. The business can't be about you anymore. We need to make sure that your team deliver a 10 out of 10 client experience. We need to increase the average client spend. The client has to have a good experience if you've got any chance of retaining them. But you can't do them all. So we have to turn our attention to team and establish a winning culture in your business. I call it a winning sales culture. This is the phase of the operator. Now, I reckon this is the hardest phase. You're fully booked on the floor. You have no time. You're trying to do the business stuff at night, and you've got a team to grow. What the heck? Now, if you can get past this stage and you can do this well, and you can push up into the manager's phase, which is anywhere between 4 and 8 team members, what worked in the operator phase, unfortunately, doesn't work in what worked in the operator phase, unfortunately, doesn't work in the manager's phase. Growth breaks things. And if we're not careful, then we find ourselves in a stage of drowning in team management. And we get overwhelmed with unappreciative, inconsistent team members. And your management strategy and your ability to manage the people and the client load and attracting all of the clients into the business, yet all the clients still want you, this now is the roadblock to growth. So in the manager's phase, we really need to step into building a bit of a management team and or team management strategies. And we need to get some financial systems and processes and career paths in place for your team. We need to future-proof our team, because otherwise what I see happen in the management phase, if we don't have time to manage our humans, we get turnover. Team come, they stay for a while, and they go. And the roadblock to growth is your ability to manage the team. Now, for those of you that can get past the 8 team members and into the Salon CEO phase, and this is heading now towards the $1 million business. What happens in the CEO phase is that you can often have 2 steps forward into the CEO phase and 2 steps back into the manager's phase. We have a moment of clarity, and then we're back into the management phase. It's 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. We're stuck in operational tasks. We're stuck. The list gets long, and you're holding on to operations too tightly, and it's the daily and monthly operational checklist that you have can be the roadblock to growth. So when we're in the CEO phase and we're heading towards the $1 million mark, we need to focus on growing the business without you at the center. We need to build a management team. We need to get you out of daily operations so you can focus on scale, review, and refining your systems and processes. This is the road and the path to the $1 million salon. So I want to stop and say, which stage or phase of business are you? What are the roadblocks and challenges you're having right now? You probably resonate with some of those, and at different stages and phases, you've been in all of those. And paying attention to that is really going to pay attention to where you need to put your attention in the business. How many hours can you invest serving clients versus how many hours do you need to invest in growing the business? And it changes over time as the business grows. What got you here will not get you to the next stage of business. I want to talk a little bit about working on your business now. Because working on, if you think about what getting you from one stage to the next, it's the change in where you spend your time and how much time you spend working in your business versus on your business is going to be the difference between you stepping from one phase to the next. So I want to talk about working on your business, not in your business. So as we open up this conversation of working on the business and in the business, I want to turn your attention to some research I did a couple of years ago. And I wanted to sanity check my own experience in my own business and with those, with other salons, and for salons inside of my Salon Mastery program, the ones that I work with. So I investigated the relationship between the hours that we work on clients, the hours that owners, salon owners work with clients versus the hours working on growing the business, and how that impacted the growth and income of the business and the financial impact that overall has on the business. Because what it boils down to, in my mind anyway, is that to get freedom, and freedom to do the things that we want to do, not just because we have to do them or are trapped into doing them. It's nothing worse than feeling trapped inside of your business. And of course, profit, enough money to do, not only to be future-proofed, but to feel safe in your business every single week and not having to think about, can I make payroll? But enough to pay our teams really well, enough to have a life that we actually want to live. You only get one life. One life. I don't know about you, but I want to enjoy my life because I only get one of them, and that doesn't include scraping by on a budget. So here are the results. Super interesting. For those businesses that the business owner worked 40 hours or more serving clients, the average income of those businesses on an annual basis was $308,000 a year. Interesting. Was not a bad little business. Owners working hard, a couple of team members. For those business owners that worked 30 hours serving clients, the average of those business owners, the average salon turnover on an annual basis was $415,000. Now, for those business owners that worked 20 hours or less, the average business turned over $518,000 a year. But what was super interesting, for those business owners that served clients 10 hours or less, or even no hours at all serving clients, only worked on the business, the average business turnover was $765,000 a year. So I want you to just to let that sink in. For those businesses that the owner did not work on clients, the average income was $765,000 a year, versus those that ran a full column, 40 hours a week, their business was less than half, $308,000 a year. So I want to ask you, what do you think this tells us? Now, I want to introduce you to Melinda. When I first met Melinda, we cried together. Business was so overwhelming for her. It was rough. She had a rogue teen. She had 2 young kids. She was working 40 hours on the floor. The business revolved around her, and her team were just kind of peripheral, were there on the peripheral. Business stuff was being done at night when her kids were in bed. Now, a couple of years later, as a smart CEO, she has doubled her sales from $8,000 a week, where she was primarily bringing that in herself. She now does consistently, on average, $16,000 a week in turnover with the same number of team members, and she doesn't contribute to that income at all. Sometimes she does a client or 2 here, but she does the client because she wants to do that client, not because the business relies on her to do it. She works on her business 100% of the time. Well, not 100% of her life, 100% of the time that she's available to work. And she told us that she is more confident and feels more like she's in the driver's seat of her business as she's working on her business actively. So she went from working 40 hours on clients, running the business at night from her bed and the laptop, to now she has a turnover around $832,000 a year. A dramatic change in business. Now, she's not alone. When Michelle joined Salon Mastery, she had moved to a brand new salon location. She had a great business, but she knew she needed to do something different to squeeze out a little bit extra in her business. She knew that there was more in there. So the last 12 months we've worked together, she's doubled her sales from $13,000 a week to $21,000. Same number of team. And she's 60% off the floor. She works on her business more than she works in her business. Now, she's with clients because she wants to, not because the business relies on her to do so. She actually loves doing clients. And she is ready to employ a full salon manager because she actually wants to stay doing clients. And she wants to, and she loves it. But now she has choice, and she's choosing to work on the right things at the right time to get the right movement in her business and the right growth. So she told us she's more confident and feels like she's in the driver's seat of her business. And she knows how to move the needles to get growth and movement in her business. So let's have a look at what's the difference on working on your business and in your business. So if that's the case, then we need to prioritize our time and what we want and where we want to get growth, right? So if the amount of time that you work investing in your business and on your business directly impacts your ability to grow the business, then let's pay a little attention to where you spend your time. So if you are less than 10 hours or even less than 20 hours on clients, this means that there's more time to work on the big rocks. The more time you work on clients, there's less time to work on the big rocks in your business. Let me rephrase. If you are spending more time working on clients, there's less time to work on growing your business. If you're spending more time on your business than with clients, then you're putting your priorities in the right place. It's the big rocks that you're working on in your CEO time that move the needle in your business. So let's have a quick look at what are what is working on your business versus working in your business? Like, what really is the difference? So working on your business is working on the big rocks, having a strategic plan, working on the big strategies that are fundamentally changing your business for the better so it can grow, installing and optimizing new strategies, systems and processes, growth strategies. In Salon Mastery, we call this a game plan. It's a 2-month strategic plan that drives us forward. And every 2-month period, we install a new income generating strategy. IGA, income generating activity for the CEO, marketing campaigns, team workshops, and team management team meeting strategies. This is where we should be spending our time. We also add, this is directly out of my workshop in my 2-day intensive in Salon Mastery. And so coming to strategy calls, working with your success coach, coming to coaching calls and working on the business drivers in those workshops, that is working on your business, not just in your business. So what is working in your business? We call them babies. And we call them babies because like a baby, the baby needs to be fed. And if you don't feed the baby cries, and it cries a lot. And it takes a lot to resettle the baby. So the babies need to be fed on a regular basis. So things that are weekly or monthly, pebbles, stock takes, team rosters, paying accounts, social media, marketing, that kind of stuff that's on rota. That's working in your business. As a business owner, working in your business, getting those things done. Working on clients. Now, priority, working on 5-star clients only, on your terms if you're a real smart CEO. But client time is working in the business. Income generating activity with your team is also working in the business. Daily huddles, team one-on-ones, team meetings, white space and promotions, and managing all of that is working inside your business. So my question to you, if you're not running and working on your business and managing your business, then who is? How much time are you spending working on the business versus in the business? So I want you to go and have a little check. Where are you spending most of your time? Now, last but not least, I'm super mindful of time. I want to talk about CEO time. And this is the 4th strategy to smash sales and work less. So now we know what smart CEOs do. They prioritize the big important strategies, the big rocks that move the needle, the right strategies. They pay attention to the stage and phase of business and working on nailing that phase before moving to the next thing or taking on new shiny objects. Smart CEOs work on their business, not just in their business, to make time to be the CEO, make CEO time. So now they need to make CEO time a priority. So let's talk about CEO time. Most salon owners do this. Their days and weeks are everywhere all over the shop. And they say to me, but I have Mondays off. Well, no, you don't. I see you ticking off and working and doing your stock take and paying wages and paying the bills on your Monday. You think it's your day off, but you're not. You're working on your business, and guess who's suffering? Your family time. Salon owners say to me, I'm doing all of the things, so why are things not sticking? It's because you're so busy doing everything yourself that nothing gets a chance. You're so busy doing everything in your business that everything's done at only 60% effectiveness. Nothing sticks. Salon owners say to me, but I'm fully booked. But if you're running your business in the 15-minute gaps between clients and in cancellations, you're not running your business. And if you're not running your business, I want to ask you, who is? And it leaves you feeling overwhelmed, overtired, until you're actually over it. And you think, I'm not cut out for this. And you're letting your busyness dictate your future. So let's do this. I want you to get a handle of where you are with your CEO time. I want you to go back over the last 4 weeks and review what you've been spending your time on. Of the 6 working in and on your business time blocks, have you been spending more? Which one have you been spending more of your time in? Is it on income generating activity? Is it on client time? Is it running the babies that maybe, depending on the stage and phase of your business, that a manager should be doing? Are you spending time working on your business? Are you getting coaching and mentoring and guidance about where you should and what big rocks you should be doing? Are you actively spending time on the big rocks, the big strategies, and implementing new things to grow your business or make business better? And are you working on income generating things so your business grows upward? So here's a little I want to summarize a little bit. We want to be clear on what stage and phase of business that you're in. Are you in the operator phase? Are you focusing on growing clients and getting your team to serve them properly? Are you in the manager's phase where you need to be growing your team and harnessing your management strategies so you can grow and retain and develop team for the long term? Or are you in the CEO phase when you're ready to scale time, grow a management team and reach the $1 million mark? So typically, there'll be some sales attached to that, and it will be different for you depending on what country that you're in and what state that you're in. But typically the operator phase is somewhere in the 2 to 4 team members. The manager's phase is somewhere in the 4 to 8 team members. And 8 team members plus is when we need to start thinking about, as a CEO, developing a management team. And what's directly related to that is the amount of time that you get to spend, or the amount of time that you choose to spend serving clients versus working on your business. So smart CEOs move the needle by working on the right things, working on the right big rocks that move the needle in the business at the right time through the different stages and phases of business, and make time for growth and work on their business and manage their time tightly so they can take control and don't let things happen to them. I hope that makes sense. So if you want to scale up your business over the next 3 months and you really want to work towards becoming a salon CEO, and you're looking to grow your salon, your team, and take it to the next level, attract awesome people into your employer brand, then right now I'm looking for the right salon and spa owners who want to grow their business fast. More sales, work less. Now, I only work with a certain type of salon owners, and maybe it's you. You have a team of 4 or 7 or more, and you're ready to be, and you're already smashing the 7 or 8K a week or more. It will take your location. You're more than ready to step up to becoming a real CEO for your business, rather than just another day fully booked on the floor and the business becomes overwhelming and stressful. You want to grow your team and a sustainable business that's not centered all around you. A successful, predictable business that works without you. You're willing to be open, to be coachable, to put the right strategic systems in place. You're a massive action taker. And in 90 days from now, things could be completely different. A year from now, life and business could be better than you ever imagined. Maybe you're a perfect fit for Salon Mastery. I'll ask you a couple of questions in Messenger, make a time to talk, and if we feel like we're a fit together, then we'll go from there. So thanks for joining me today. I hope this has put some new insight and thought into how you do business and how you step into being a smart salon CEO. Thanks for joining me, and we'll talk again soon.